Understand something. Plain and simple. To me, Abigail was a delicious poison. An intoxicating, overwhelming poison. Yowie wowie! That felt good!
We might just have a little bit of breaking news. Just a tad, just a tad. Welcome to Abby's Window. I am Jeff, and as always, I am joined by our Abby, the one and only Jodie Gilly. Jodie, how are you?
Fantastic.
I think we had a little bit of something that happened last night, I believe. Something pretty big, I believe.
Something a little hot?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was almost, I don't know. It was a little, it was lit, as they say, you know. It was definitely lit. So, before we get into the breaking news, I want to say hello to all of the folks that are in the chat. Obviously, we got a bunch of fireflies here tonight, and everyone wants to know what's next. So we're going to see if we can discuss that and give you some theories and get some of your theories in the chat. So, yeah, let's get going. So, future wrestling champion, hello. I'm assuming this was a response to the title of the video. He said, indeed, he was. Yes, we will talk about that. Jason Peace says, good evening, all. Good evening, Jason. Kevin Correa, Butterspark, Rusty Shackelford, EJ Movement. Jody is somehow mysteriously in the chat. James Chadwick, Chris Dazuba, Robert Morris, Steve Walker. Let's see, Sean, John Cena Gamer 08, James Grant, Dave in Real Life, Matt the Misfit. What's up, man? Our insider on the insiders. Big Dan is in the house. Let's see, man. Hayden Garrett, thank you for joining. Sean Rousset, Drift Lewis, man, we got a good crowd right now. Let's see. Tom Buff says USA wanted more adult content. Well, they got it. You're darn Skippy. Banana 409 says I'm currently painting. Well,
all right.
So we're going to give you a little bit of if we see a painting that's inspired by last night's match, please hit us up on Twitter because we want to share that with everyone. Shane Lowe, Brandon Barnes, Sincere Meteor. Wow, got a good crowd in here. Jason Peace is asking, Jody, are you feeling okay from last night?
Yes.
She is feeling fine. She's refreshed. And yeah. And let me share this comment by Sincere Meteor. He says, I'm man enough to say that I cried last night. It was awesome and bittersweet. Mixed feelings on the Fiend's supposed death. Well, we will talk about that because
we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, it's we're going to see. So Jody, share your breaking news with
all
everyone.
Right. So I hope you guys brushed up on your Bray trivia because guess what? We are playing Bray trivia. And the absolutely wonderful Scott Dorsey has agreed to let us give away one of his pieces of Fiend art. Must be in the continental U.S., unfortunately. But we are going to play trivia, so I hope you guys have brushed up on your Bray trivia because we are going to be giving away some awesome, awesome art. The piece of art we're giving away is actually currently on my living room wall. So
there you go. And when do you want to do that near the end, Jody, or when would you like to do that?
Whenever you want to. We can get out of the way now if you want. We can wait a little bit.
Let's wait a little bit.
Okay.
And get some conversation going.
Yeah.
What happened last night. And now, for your viewing pleasure, we are going to show up on screen. It's us. So hello, everyone. We are here, and as you can see, an open flame is behind the one and only Fiend. And yeah, I mean, let's just Chris says Jeff is the tease of the stream. Well, hey, what can you say? All right. So last night we had a Firefly Inferno match.
Yes, we did.
The Fiend and one Randy Orton, and I called him an a-hole. I didn't say the whole I didn't say the whole word, but I said he was a certified a-hole. And I'm pretty sure that if you are a fan of Bray Wyatt, you probably said the word at some point last night. So I'm gonna put your comments on screen there. Matt is saying that the TV guide rating for tonight is not TV 14 but TV PG. I still think
just wait.
I still think we're gonna get something. So
yeah.
So we get this match last night, and holy crap. The final image that we saw of Randy's arrogance at the top of the ramp was the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, up in flames. And wow. Tough to watch if you're a fan of Bray. Because honestly, it was one of those things where it's like, what in the world did I witness? Like, what did I just witness here? And I mean, first off, kudos to WWE for putting on a heck of a TLC last night. I mean, top to bottom, great show. It was amazing. Dave in Real Life says, I wasn't triggered by last night's finish because I know we are getting more Orton Bray going forward, maybe cult leader Bray at the Rumble. So, and Deanna says, reaction of the night goes to Jodie. So, Jodie, obviously you've had a few hours now to process everything that we saw last night. Now that you've had a little bit of time to sleep on it, which I don't know how much actual sleep you got, give us your thoughts on the Firefly Inferno match.
I didn't get a lot of sleep because I had to be up for work this morning. But the reason that I got so emotional is twofold. One, I'm a nurse. We are trained to run towards the fire, no pun intended, and get people out of it. So, the nurse in me was like, oh my gosh, I am seeing someone in grave danger and I can't do anything but watch it. And I think it's a little different, watching a movie. It's just kind of a different level of dynamic. The second aspect is, as all of you guys know, and all of you guys feel the same way as well, Ray is someone that we admire. And, for my 3-year-old son, he's his superhero. And to not be able to help was tough to watch. And I would still get emotional. I would still get emotional about it. So, but it was a beautiful disaster. It was wonderful to watch, but trust my soul at the same time. But kudos to not just WWE for putting on a hell of a show, but also to Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, because both of the level of professionalism from both of them was top notch, and you just can't get any better than that. I mean, and people that are close to Bray have been saying it on Twitter today that, he took an RKO while he was on fire. I mean, what there's just, so.
Gotcha.
Fantastic.
Gotcha. Yeah. The match that we got last night was absolute insanity. Jodie, do you have your AirPod in?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to do something that I asked you not to and take it off, because people are saying that that you sound a little bit muffled.
Okay.
So if you can just do that, and I'll try to ramble until you get that disconnected. But wow. Days fan, thank you for joining us. Jonelle Jackson, Jesse Callan, thank you for joining. Okay, so yeah, we got a heck of a match last night, and two guys that are brilliant storytellers. That's what we saw last night. And a lot of us will look at the results of what happened. Is that better, everyone? Let us know. A lot of us will look at the results and say, man, I didn't really want to I really didn't want to see Bray lose. I didn't want to see what happened to him happen. And by the way, folks, there are no such thing as spoiler alerts right now, because if you didn't see it, that's on you at this point. So, yeah, I mean, we're just gonna throw everything out there. So, Jodie, it looks like everyone's saying that you're good to go now. So yeah.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, we got such a moment. Such a moment that it was, I mean, I have trouble putting into words my feelings about what the match was to me. But and as we will get into this, we have theories that we want to share. And I have a theory, and I know I don't typically have theories, but I'm going to share one this evening. But I will go ahead and preface it and say, I don't think we as wrestling fans are thinking big enough. I don't think that we are looking at the picture that
You gotta think bigger.
Yeah, this is bigger than a wrestling match. That's what I'm trying to get out. And Steve Walker, thank you for shouting us out. He says, I agree with what you said last night, Jeff. It's not about wins and losses. It's about storytelling, and Wyndham is beyond the master of that.
Yep.
Yes. That's the simplest way that we can say it.
And I think the big tribute to that is that people that we've had on the show that are close with him say exactly the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so obviously, Jodie, this thing started out with the Fiend coming to the ring and that amazing entrance. And
coolest entrance on the planet.
It is the coolest entrance on the planet. And we can say that now that the Undertaker is retired. And I won't. Last time I said something about the Undertaker on here, I got so much grief in my DMs about, dude, what you said was blasphemous. What you said was absolutely blasphemous, and it probably was. But last night, I believe, took us towards what I was saying in terms of moments, because whether people hated it or loved it, and if you hated it, let's have a conversation. People are talking about this all day.
Yep.
It's been since last night. So, and just so you know, guys, we're going to get into what this means for Alexa. What this means for the Firefly Funhouse, all of that stuff. But I want to go to Eric Harper. Thank you for joining, and also Jesse, my good friend, who is my partner in crime on our Movies to Be Murdered By podcast. Thank you for joining. Eric Harper says, what does this mean for Alexa Bliss? Bray can't control her mind anymore. Then Matt the Misfits tend to be depressed and sad to the point where Randy thinks she is vulnerable, and then that's where the Fiend strikes. So, all right, so Jodie, we get this entrance, and then we get a crap ton of chaos, and that's the simplest way to put it. So much so that we saw a strap being lit on fire.
Yes.
We saw a pickaxe. We saw a rocket.
Pickaxe is actually a throwback.
Yes. Nice little Easter egg.
It was a lovely little Easter egg, that pickaxe.
Rusty says, what if I don't know exactly how I feel about it? I'm still like, WTF. Hey, that's all good. That's all good.
There's a big part of me that's like that too.
Yeah. So then, we see this this spot where we see the rocking chair, and
I flipped out.
Yeah. And we see Other Mother. Thank you for joining us. We see Bray. Well, we see the Fiend pour the gasoline all over it, and then Randy sits in it, and he narrowly escapes the fire that gets to the chair. So obviously, right out the gate, we saw nothing but violence. But Jodie, what did you think of the setup that the WWE had last night for this match?
Oh, I thought it was fantastic. I mean, when you first heard Michael Cole say that the entire Thunderdome was going to be on fire, you were kind of like, what? What does that mean? And, they did it, where the fires got bigger at certain spots. And props to my husband, who may have picked out a little Easter egg. He said that when the chair got lit on fire, it sounded like cult leader Bray laughing and not the Fiend.
Mm-hmm.
So, and just could be an interesting, another little Easter egg. But I thought, WWE did this really well. When he set that strap on fire, I mean, just the little nuances that, the little details that were all throughout that match were just fantastic.
Yeah, I thought it was great. And, just all the different little intricate details that they put in. I don't know. I mean, it was just brilliant. So, they even realized his thoughts on the fire stripper poles.
The what?
the poles that had the fire going around them that were also.
I didn't really look at him like that, but I think it was just a good way for them to get that visualization that everything around them is on fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that was amazing. Sincere Meteor says, if I'm being honest, I know we've had amazing storylines and rivalries throughout the history of wrestling, but in this current era, Bray is the king of storytelling and of intriguing all of us.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that statement.
100%.
Okay, so we've got a lot of people talking about theories right now, and we've got a lot of people saying, do you think the Fiend is gone? I know someone said that the Fiend is dead. I've got Dave's fan asking if we see the Fiend again. I say we just go ahead and jump into some theories here, Jodie. What do you say?
All right.
Okay, so
I want to hear your theory. I'm excited.
You want to hear my theory? Okay.
I do.
All right. So my theory is this. I don't think this is at all about a wrestling match. The Fiend's stories have not been about wrestling matches. They've been about revenge and psychologically breaking the opponent that have wronged him in the past. With me saying that, I'm going to equate this to a horror movie. I'm going to equate it to a horror franchise. When people killed, and I'm using air quotes, Jason Voorhees.
They set him on fire.
Guess what? He was back. He was back for another movie. He was back for the sequel. When people killed Michael Myers in the Halloween franchise,
he got decapitated.
Yeah, I mean, man had his head cut off.
Yeah.
Still around.
Yep.
So what do I think this means for the Fiend? I think this means that we get the Fiend 2.0. This is going to be a more sadistic, more violent, and Otherwise, he will also have the ability to tap into certain parts of Bray's existence without having to change back and forth. What I mean by that is this: the Fiend will be able to tap into parts of cult leader Bray or access those parts in ways that we haven't seen before, because we've seen Bray shift, but we haven't seen the Fiend shift. So what this does is this allows, in my opinion, the Fiend to begin to shift in more ways. And the last thing that I will say about this, that I don't think a lot of people are picking up on, there's a photo that Bray tweeted out, and it's of the caterpillar being in the cocoon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you look, and I'm going to try my best to pull this up as we're talking. I know this is a painful photo for people to look at, and I'm sorry, but I have to bring it back up here. If you look at this photo, what can you say about the presentation of this photo? It almost looks as if there's an emptiness as the Fiend is burning. What does that mean? This means, in my opinion, again, it's just me, so I'm not going to make anyone think that I'm trying to, put anything off on you here. But in my opinion, what this means is that the Fiend shed his old persona as the Fiend, the weaker part of his Fiend persona, and it is now time for the real Fiend to please stand up. I got Eminem's brain because he just dropped the B-side of Music to Me Burger by. So anyway, but that's what I think at this point. I think that, when we see this, obviously, yes, people are going to say that, well, they had to do this because, obviously they weren't going to set him on fire. But I think it's very, very telling and interesting, folks.
Symbolic.
It's very symbolic
Mm-hmm.
that the heal and hurt gloves did not get touched by fire.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the face, it looks sunken in. These same things can have parallels drawn from horror movies to what happened last night. In my opinion, the Fiend was not the one that burned up last night. And I will now turn it over to Jodie.
I think that's a great theory, and there's definitely a lot to be said about that. And interesting to note, too, going along with the caterpillar, the first thing that Bray said on Twitter after this match was thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So that should tell any Bray fan out there watching, he's still very much in control of this story and how it's being told. And this had to happen to open up things down the road. I don't think that the Fiend is gone per se. I think it's going to unlock a deeper level of the Fiend, if that makes sense. I don't think it's going to be the boar mask. I think it's going to be something brand new. And I think they're going to tweak things a little bit. I think that he's going to get a lot more sinister, especially, with the stories about USA Network wanting to have more adult content. And I think that was the moment when, Bray was probably like, all right, I'm bringing it. You want more adult content? He's got plenty. And I remember when Kyle was on our show, saying that the original sketch of the Fiend mask was a lot darker.
Mm-hmm.
They had to kind of change it up a little bit to make it less scary. So maybe that's something that they can go back to, that darker, more sinister aspect of the Fiend. I think, a year from now, we're going to look back on this and be like, that's why that made sense. And, kind of adding to your theory, Jeff, about, him shedding this skin. We've always kind of had this theory about multiple personalities, multiple personas being in the one person, and only one can come forward at a time. I think shedding this cocoon and becoming that butterfly, so to speak, is almost going to get rid of that. I think that it will no longer be, kind of like you said, it gives the Fiend the ability to shift. I think it will kind of get rid of that multiple personality persona. And I've always said, even when he's the Fiend, there's still a little part of him that's Bray, that's Funhouse Bray. There's still a little part of him that's Cult Leader Bray. And I think that's why Randy tried to play on Alexa being a weakness, because he was playing on that Funhouse Bray part of him that's still in there. I think that is all going to be gone, and all we are going to get is this completely terrifying monster.
I 100% agree. And
so I'm going to use the word innovation.
Yeah. Someone in the chat said this, and I did not say this as a part of my theory, but I think that, again, the Fiend had to be purified by the fire, meaning that he had to burn away the weakness, because he knows that in order to get to where he ultimately wants to be, he needs a new host.
He needs to shed his weakness.
Yes.
I think those other personalities
are the weaknesses.
So
yes.
Yeah.
So I think that a part of this fire, the whole theory behind this, is that the light that is Funhouse Bray dims a little bit. We've been seeing that Funhouse Bray is getting less fun. We're on the same page. So he's getting less fun, and a little bit, he's tapping into that strength and that darkness, and it's starting to merge everything together. And I don't think this will be the last time we see something like this happen with the Fiend.
Nope.
I think that this new Fiend persona will go on, but I honestly believe that this will. I don't want to say kill off the other personas, but you'll be able to see less of where they start and less of where the Fiend ends. And I think it's merging of
Bray and Bray has even said that about himself in interviews a lot. He said, I get the question all the time, where does Wyndham stop and Bray start? And he said, people don't understand, they're one and the same.
And I think that's what we get. And and Jodie, I got to give you a shout out here, because you sent me an image today that is of a Kyle Scarborough drawing. And shout out to Kyle, friend of the show. He's awesome. We love you, dude.
We love you, Kyle.
And it's a concept of the Fiend. And what does it have on the mask there, Jodie? What is prominently placed on the mask up top?
The number 2.
The number 2.
I believe I have to give a little bit credit to somebody beside. I believe C Wrestling was the one that told me that.
Okay. Okay.
But yes, if you look closely at that, there's definitely a number 2
Yeah.
of his forehead. And I know that always makes Kyle laugh, because I remember when we were talking about all those cabin pictures that he posted, and I mentioned literally downloaded them and was zooming in trying to find little tiny things, and he goes, "That's the point." So
Yeah. 7. You know what? We've got a lot of people in here right now. Thank all of you for joining us. This is absolutely
you're awesome.
I'm trying to keep up with the chat and graphics and everything at the same time. So I apologize if I'm missing your comments and everything, but I'm trying my best to do to get everything up. But I do think we get a new mask for sure. I think they're going to finally say, "Okay, Bray, we're going to take the handcuffs off you now.
Yep.
We need you."
And they do.
And yeah, they do. They
do.
They
100%.
absolutely do. So Butterspark saying 2 beautiful works by Kyle last night. Yes, great work. Let's say Drift Lewis says, "Would you say it was a fiery night?" I'd say it was a fiery night. Drift. Rusty Shackelford says, "Truthfully, I would love to see a Funhouse with Alexa going completely mad all by herself and losing it in a very twisted, cynical way." So
I would actually, I agree with that to a certain extent. I would really love to get a Funhouse episode with Ramblin' Rabbit acting just like a lot of the fans that are saying Bray's buried.
yeah.
And then Ramblin' getting murdered by Alexa. I think that would just be really funny.
Yeah. Hello, Beast Nation. Beast Nation says the Fiend is dead and high. You might have just walked in on the end of our conversation where we said he wasn't dead. But hey, everyone can have their opinions. And when he shows up again, hint, hint, wink, wink, because there might be a possibility that he shows up tonight. Pause.
We'll see.
We'll see. Drift Lewis says the gas bill must have been more expensive than Brock Lesnar's contract. Yes. Man, that's awesome. Elijah Washington, thank you.
I keep going back to, those 3 people that we had on the show, Jason, Jesse, and Kyle, all said exactly the same thing. We haven't seen anything yet.
That's right. And honestly, Big Boy Dallas, you're in my head. You're in my head right now. I think this new mask is going to give people some nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that is going to be Freddy Krueger-esque. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. Matt saying, yes, have Alexa go full psychotic Harley Quinn. Her Mr. J was set on fire, and now she can lose touch of reality and tap into another layer of her character. Thoughts?
I agree with that. Yeah.
Jodie, what do you think all of this means for Alexa?
I think, like I said before, she just adds a whole nother layer to this story. And I think that's a great way to, like we said, the Fiend emerged from this psychological break that Bray had. Alexa kind of needs one of those too. And what better way to make her have just snap than her guy being taken away.
Absolutely. I believe that I don't think this ends anything for Alexa. So if that's what people are thinking, I don't think that it does it that way at all. I think in fact it's the exact opposite. I think this could accelerate, and hopefully people catch what I did there, accelerating fires. I think this could accelerate her evolution into what she is going to become.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think we will start to see breaks here and there in the persona that she has now. And then when we look back on this 3 or 4 months down the road, we're going to say, okay, this is why this happened. Drift Lewis says, how about Randy comes out with a coffin tonight thinking the Fiend is in it, then Alexa appears on the Tron saying you might want to look inside that coffin. Randy's then might want to look in that coffin, Randy, then the Fiend is behind with a new mask.
I don't think we get the new mask yet. I actually don't think we see the Fiend for a few weeks. I think we may see Funhouse Bray. I'm not quite sure that we see the Fiend right away. Because in order for him to evolve and reinvent himself, caterpillars in a cocoon take time to emerge as a butterfly. So, actually it reminded me of, even though he used the imagery of a caterpillar in a cocoon, it made me think of Harry Potter.
Okay.
Do you remember Dumbledore's Phoenix?
Yep.
When he died, quote unquote, he set on fire and reborn out of the ashes. And that's how it works with the Phoenix. So that's what that reminded me of, that we're going to get some kind of rebirth, and that's going to take a little bit of time, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. EJ Movement. Well, let me read this. Thank you, Moda, for joining us. Have a Moda alert in the house. Moda says, I don't mind what happened last night as long as it gives way to a more badass Fiend or a new character who is booked better than the original Fiend. Just my honest opinion. I understand that. I kind of made mention of that earlier. I think that, as wrestling fans, we've been so conditioned to think about booking, less about stories as time has gone on, that that's what we focus on. And I don't disagree. The whole Goldberg thing is still one of the dumbest decisions that have ever been made in professional wrestling, in my humble opinion. It shouldn't have happened, and I don't even like thinking about it. But at the same time, it all gives way to how brilliant Bray is. Bray, if that were any other wrestler, they would have recovered from that. They wouldn't have, period. But because Bray can take chicken crap and make chicken salad out of it, he made that a stepping stone. The next part of his story. So, just my humble opinion. Sincere Meteor says the Fiend will become something more, as once you used to describe the Joker and even Batman. Bray's more than just a man. He's an idea. He's much more than a mortal shell. He's a whole universe. Yeah.
I think the Fiend and Bray will take this time, if we don't see the Fiend, this new Fiend, for a little while. I think that he's going to take this time to torment Randy.
Yes.
We're gonna get some shenanigans.
Favorite word, shenanigans.
Some very, very supernatural, wonderful things.
Yep. Moda, here's what I am going to say to you about what you just said about being better utilized in 2021. As crazy as this is to say, 2021 will be the year of Bray Wyatt. not only because he deserves it, but now they see we can't do the whole hokey, big time superhero like Hulk Hogan deal anymore because that was played out in the early 90s. That's why Hogan had to, become a heel. Because
Scary is popular.
Exactly.
It really is. That's why Host is one of the biggest movies in the country.
Exactly. So
great movie, by the way.
Great movie. But yeah, I mean, this is I just feel like this is an opportunity here for them to really catapult him into this next stratosphere that he belongs in. I said this before and I'll say it again, and I don't care if you come in my DMs and you call me blasphemous. This character, regardless of the persona that it has the potential to be on a level when it's all said and done 15 years from now, on a level, I'm not saying he's going to surpass, but on a level of an Undertaker type character. That's my opinion. All I'm going to say. Allberry83 says, I also feel people are missing the fact that Vince made this the main event over Roman
Reigns and Drew McIntyre.
Yes. Yeah.
This is a perfect segue into our trivia question, by the way.
Yeah. So let's do this. We've got a trivia question, and are you ready to put it up on screen, Jody?
Not yet. So let's think about speaking. That Vince put this over Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. Let's look at Bray's year in review. So if you're thinking 2021 is going to be the year of Bray Wyatt, how many pay-per-views are in a year? 12?
12.
Okay.
Unless it's a Saudi thing, and then we've got like 14, but.
Right. Okay. So your most popular wrestler and our wonderfully beloved Bray Wyatt has headlined and main evented 5 pay-per-views this year. So your trivia question is, and the first person that gets them all right gets to win the piece of art from Scott Dorsey. What are those 5 pay-per-views that he main evented in 2020?
So there you have it, folks. That's the
there's your trivia question.
There's a trivia question.
And we can talk while,
Yeah, absolutely.
That out. Just how impressive that is.
Yeah.
That he has main evented 5 pay-per-views this year and is not currently your champion.
Yes.
And though I think only 2 of those were championship belt matches.
Yep.
So, he main evented TLC last night in a non-title match.
So there's one. All right, let's see. We've got Drift Lewis. Drift Lewis says Super Showdown, Extreme Rules, SummerSlam, Payback, TLC. Is it Drift Lewis?
Yes, I believe it was.
So Drift Lewis, let's see here.
We've got SummerSlam.
We've got
TLC, Extreme Rules, Payback, and TLC.
Super Showdown. There we go. So Drift Lewis, you are the winner. I really hope, Drift Lewis, that you are in the continental U.S. If you're not, then we're going to go to the next person. Hopefully you are.
How impressive is that?
It's very impressive.
5 main events.
Oh, he's saying that Matt. Okay, Matt. He's saying that Matt typed it before him. Well, that's really cool of you. You know what, though? You know what, Drift?
It came through on our end at the same time.
You know what? Both of you win.
All right. Then you both get one.
So what I want you guys to do is I want you both to DM Jodie on Twitter and give her your information. And yeah, just do that. Give her your information, and we will make sure we get those out to you. But yeah, props to both of you. And Drift, that was really, I love honesty and all of that. So kudos to you for doing that. So because of that, both of you are going to get these wonderful pieces of Dorsey art. Jodie, can you show your phone real quick on which piece that is?
Of course I can.
Martez L. That the Firefly Funhouse match did not main event Mania.
Nope, it didn't.
It should have, but it didn't.
There is your piece of art.
So that's the piece of Dorsey art that you two will be receiving. Matt is just showing off now. He says Bray was in 3 title matches. But yeah, that's
But still, how impressive is that?
That's mighty impressive for a guy that is. Drift says, you know what, Drift, I don't care.
No, we'll do it. It may take me a little longer to get it to you, because I'll probably have Dorsey Art send it to me first, and then I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
But we'll get it to you. No worries.
Yeah. Yeah. So, So what? I mean, Robert Morris brings up a good point here. He says the Fiend was on fire on the SummerSlam poster.
He was, and he's kind of on fire in the Super Showdown one.
Yeah.
There's fire in the Payback one.
Yeah.
I think if you go back and look at a lot of Kyle's pictures of the Fiend that he posts, you'll see a lot of fire.
Drift is saying, no, guys, I insist, please give it to someone in the U.S. Drift, we're going to have a talk about this later. So, Big Dan is telling you is a compliment. Like, this is a compliment. So, we're going to make sure that you get this because, listen, that was honorable what you did.
Mm-hmm.
So, Magic Banana says he main evented WrestleMania. No, he definitely should have. But if you remember, I want to say that Brock and Drew evented the second night.
It was the Boneyard match on the first night, and it was Brock and Drew on the second.
Brock and Drew, yeah. Sean says, Jodie, if you have it, send it to me. I can ship it for you through my work. Just trying to help.
Thank you.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Thank you, Sean. So let's see. Elijah Washington, because I want to get the Matt's comment, says, wait, Jodie, didn't Cena in the Fiend main event? No, it's all good. We just answered it. So, see, I told you I was trying to keep up with the chat. So Matt asked the question, and I think this is a really good question. Just how in the world do you top an Inferno match? A cage on fire? Jodie, do you want me to cover this first, or do you
go for it?
Okay. No problem. Magic Banana or Elijah Washington. No problem at all. 7-star. We were saying Bray Wyatt, not necessarily the Fiend. We were saying Bray Wyatt. So that's That was our wrinkle in the trivia question there. Okay, so what I think the only natural way to do this is, I don't know. I do know. You have to bury someone in this feud. Like, you gotta get buried. So me and Magic Banana are on the same page here. Buried alive match. Someone's got to go in the grave. And if they add fire to it, why not? But I think the next step is a buried alive match. I really do. Because again, that match, along with the Inferno match, are matches that we don't see.
Mm-hmm.
It had been 7
And
years
they're- yeah.
the match.
And they're running out of time to do cinematic things.
Right.
Because Vince wants fans back. So
since it was done this way, Matt says, and Magic Banana says, so you're talking about a boneyard match. I think
it should be a casket match.
that would be awesome. But I think between these two, okay, story time, Jodie.
Story time. Go for it. I love story time.
Folks, gather around. Story time.
Wait, let me turn my fireplace on.
There you go. So story time. Rusty says a hide and seek in the woods match. At night match. So
you know what?
But
I wouldn't mind that.
See, that's where I'm going though. I think this next match has to involve the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
Has to involve the cabin. And we have to have a burial plot near the cabin. And they fight in a cabin where we have fire, we have different episodes, different things throughout the cabin that tie into the history of these two. And I believe that when we see this, Magic Banana saying an Inferno barnyard buried alive match, great match. But yes, I think I honestly believe that we have to have the cabin involved in some way, shape, or form, and we get a burial plot. And I not only would I like to see a burial plot, but if we book this as the Fiend wins, which I think is going to be the case, what do you need at a funeral?
A casket?
You need a casket. Who carries that casket?
Pallbearers?
Wouldn't it be interesting if we got the reveal of a new family carrying that casket to bury Randy Orton in a grave?
I dig it. I think you just blew my mind, Jeff.
Okay, guys, I promise that I don't work for a wrestling company. However, if you're a wrestling company and you're listening, hit me up because I can offer you my services in terms of
Dan's title there, he calls it a cabin of carnage.
Yes. There we go.
A lot.
There we go. But I think Rusty saying a wrong turn match.
But think about this too. Bray is a horror fan.
Yes.
Cabin in the Woods. Not only is a Cabin in the Woods a movie, you've also got the allure of Jason. You've got the allure of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You've also got the allure of Freddy the 13th, Freddy Krueger. I mean, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, It's got all the elements there. Matt says so. The Dark Carnival as a new family. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that's a perfect time. I don't think you need a family to be involved with this feud. The only involvement that they need to have is saying, okay, we need to bury the snake in the ground. And now we're going to go and do our thing. Jodie, you've got something that you got to say.
What if the people carrying the casket are the Fiend's old rivalries? Seth Rollins, John Cena, Braun Strowman, Daniel Bryan.
Get out of my head, Jodie.
I love it.
Get out of my head, because that's literally what I was about to say. Is that, you know, you've got Seth, Braun, you've got Daniel Bryan, but I think at some point we're going to get someone else involved, and it's not going to be our regular Finn Balor. It's going to be the Demon, Finn Balor. So yeah. So I think the pallbearers are going to be people that he has changed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I truly believe, and I honestly think that the coup de grace will be. And someone asked this in the chat earlier, because we had someone mentioning Bo. I think Bo is going to come out as the boar. That's what I think.
Look at this.
Uh-oh.
So that graphic of the Fiend versus Randy Orton at TLC, what does it have in it?
TLC.
I'm zooming in way too much.
Oh boy. Okay. I was about to say, you're gonna have to tell me, because
It's the cabin. It's the Wyatt compound that Randy burned down. There is a picture of a cabin.
Really? Wow.
The cabin is also on fire.
They're giving us hints.
Bray's so good at that.
They're giving us hints. This is a story that, oh my gosh, like the layers to this story are unlike anything we've seen in a long time.
The pickaxe is also in that picture.
There you go. So they told us what was going to happen before it happened, which means that now not only do we have to pay attention to Kyle's artwork, but we also have to pay attention to the posters that are being.
The flames are also engulfing Funhouse, Bray.
So
it's on top of the cabin.
So Jodie, basically what you're saying is that tonight, without even knowing it, we're going through this photo now, and we've been calling a lot of the things that we see in this photo, because honestly, folks, I haven't looked at the photo that close, so I'm going to have to once we get done here. But wow.
I haven't looked at a photo that close since Kyle's.
Yeah, since we went crazy with the Mania stuff, we went absolutely insane. We were like zooming in at 1,000%, and all the stuff, just analyzing every single bit of those pieces of art. Matt says this Orton and Bray feud would have been avoided if Bray had only listened to Luke Harper. Ain't that right, Jeff and Joey? If only he had listened.
No, Bray does what he wants. You can't harness a mind like that.
Yeah.
He's an enigma.
He is. He's an enigma. Let's see here. So, Jodie, when do you think we get another sighting of the Fiend? And
I think we get Fiend 2.0 at the Royal Rumble.
at the Rumble.
Yep.
Until then, you're just going. You think that we're just going to get a lot of
Shenanigans.
yes, that's a better word than the term that I was about to use that would have gotten this video demonetized.
Mind games. Put it that way instead.
Yes, mind games, not the other mind word that I was about to use.
Psychological warfare.
Psychological warfare.
But how amazing would that be? Randy Orton is in the Rumble. All of a sudden, the lights go out. You hear the Fiend's music start up, and he starts to walk out, but he looks really different.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not quite the Fiend that we're used to. And I think everybody's just going to go, oh my God. That's going to be a fun watch along, by the way.
Yeah. Butterspark saying, do you mean Fiend 2.0 in the match itself? You
Yes.
think we get Fiend 2.0 in the Rumble match?
Yep.
Wow. Magic Banana says, I think the boar mask will be the Fiend's new mask. I think we get something. I mean, it could be. It could very well be. We're just giving out theories and all that. So very well could be. None of us would be disappointed by that.
Mm-mm.
I think we Rusty, thank you, sir. Rusty said, fire truck. Exactly. Yeah, thank you, Rusty. Yes. Big Dan says, I'm thinking Royal Rumble, as reports say, it is going to be a reset for the company. Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It has to be. I mean, it absolutely has to be. Because, I mean, other companies at this point, and I know this is a Bray-centered show, but other companies at this point are going to the moon. So WWE, you can't just say, hey, we're WWE, we'll get through it. It's got to be, all right, now let's see you do this thing the right way. And last night was the right way.
Gotta pull up your big boy pants.
Got to pull up those big boy britches and, yeah. So
everybody's talking about trucks, and now I'm thinking about that Instagram post that Bray said about wanting to show up to WrestleMania in a monster truck.
huh.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
He wanted to show up to WrestleMania in a monster truck.
All right. So, Jody, what do you think? Well, someone said something about Braun, and then we'll start to wrap up here because I have to go in a second. But Elijah Washington says, Jody and the Wrestling Insights, did you see Braun's Twitter? He wore a mask, but dude looks jacked. Listen, Braun Strowman right now, dude, that man is fit.
That mask, by the way, is a Jason Baker product who we have had on our show.
Yes, it is. Oh, I'm loving this by Big Dan. Guys, what about a dual-sided mask like Two-Face? I love that. I absolutely love that.
That'd be like my tattoo.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
That'd be like my tattoo.
What? We'll talk offline because darn it,
What?
Your tattoo may be a clue for a future.
Kyle drew it.
Dang it. Okay. So, wow. So, Jody, just for us to wrap up here. Let's see here. Chris DeZuba says, I'm not a Fiend fan, but love these streams. They're so interesting. Thank you. That's a compliment. That's a compliment. Hi, Sapphire. How are you? Thank you for joining us. Jodie, what do we get tonight involving this story?
Shenanigans.
Shenanigans. Eric Buchanan, the legend, has arrived. Eric, thank you for joining us. I'm not even going to throw shade at your comment of being a legend. I will just let the chat do that for me because I know it's coming in about 3, 2, 1. Bazinga. So Randy is scheduled to speak tonight. And
I'm back. Sorry, I had to mute myself. I got invaded
Uh-oh.
by a 3-year-old.
Oh, an invasion. An invasion. No.
It was a 3-year-old invasion.
Yeah.
We're gonna get shenanigans.
Yeah, we are gonna get shenanigans. Eric, it's all good, man. Listen, this is why it's on here. It's on here. You can go back and watch it anytime. It's all good. We're just glad that you came. So we're all good. But Randy's set to talk tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that we are not necessarily going to get a glimpse of anything involving a new Fiend, as we're calling him, Fiend 2.0. But I think it's possible we get Alexa somehow, some way. But I do think that we'll get Funhouse Bray. I do think we'll get that.
Mm-hmm.
But, anyway, whatever the case is, just expect your jaw to hit the floor because I think,
One of these days, we really need to stream Raw.
yeah. So, just saying. Well, before Eric gets any more strikes, we are going to say goodnight to all of you and tell you that we really appreciate you joining us tonight. And my goodness, I mean, I think we're just getting started with this whole thing. And 4 years, I think, into it, or a little bit more with these two.
Yeah, this feud's been 4 years in the making.
Oh boy, man, we can't even close the show fast enough, and Eric is just getting strike. I mean, he's already at strike 2, so
Oh dear.
oh boy. Good luck to you, Eric. Godspeed. Oh boy, it happened. Wow. If you are watching this this show for the first time, please do us a favor and subscribe to this channel. We would greatly appreciate it. Please like the video as well. My goodness, we got a lot of folks in here tonight, so we really appreciate it. But drop some likes on this video. This was a really fun episode as always. And yeah, we went a little bit long, but it's all good because we could have probably gone for another hour talking about everything Bray Wyatt. So thank you all so much for joining. Tomorrow night we are doing our Impact watch along, and come join us for that 7:00. We don't think there's going to be a lot in the way of wrestling action, but it'll just be a fun stream because Impact is always fun. So come join us for that. Jodie,
Yes.
what do you say? We do this next week?
Of course.
All right. So, folks, thank you so much for joining us. And we really appreciate it.
I will be joining you next week from another state. Joining you next week while I'm sitting on a balcony overlooking the Atlantic Ocean.
That's a teaser. That is a teaser. So, yeah. Guys, have a good evening. Enjoy Raw. And listen, don't fret. The Fiend is not dead.
Mm-mm.
He is just burning off the old to unleash the new. Good night, everyone. Stay safe, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. Take care.